The other question you had was?
I was just wondering about, it seems to be the goalposts are moving all of the time.
It's not, it's not that the goalposts are moving. It's that he has two different tariffs that he's charging. One tariff is related to border security and fentanyl, and that's what we're dealing with now with the 2510 tariffs. The other issues that are coming up in the context of trade irritants that will be needed to be discussed in the context of a renegotiated Canada-U.S. free trade agreement. Sometimes when he speaks, he intermingles those two, but there's very clearly a long list of grievances that the U.S. president has. I would put it to you that I think Alberta has done its part in matching the effort that the Americans want to see. And I was just in Coots, and I can tell you, I can affirm what Mike is saying. The issue that we're facing in Alberta at our border appears to be drugs coming up from Canada, or from the U.S. into Canada, whether it's cocaine or crystal meth. The issue of migrants seems to be exclusively people coming across from the United States into Canada. A woman in the room said that 2 or 3 times a year she sees families with suitcases. And I asked the room full of about 200 people how many people experienced the same, and almost everyone lifted their hand. So there are hundreds of people potentially who are coming across from the United States into Canada, and we are not seeing the same in reverse. So what we are asking for is some recognition that with the additional enforcements we put at the border, our interdiction teams, the sniffer dogs, the vehicle inspection, the drones, and the Black Hawk helicopters, that's a demonstration that we're doing our part. We're wanting the U.S. to match our efforts as well. And let's stamp out the scourge of fentanyl. We all want to eliminate it. But it's going to take a joint effort working collaboratively. And I think some recognition that it is a two-way street.
Thanks, Jordan. We'll go to our next at the mic.
Hi there, Colin Gallant with the Medicine Hat News. You had said that your government was looking through some proposals for several pipelines to the United States, and that eventually, when this is all cleared up, you'd be welcome back that relationship. What would it take in terms of guarantees from the United States that this sort of thing wouldn't just happen again, for you to move ahead on those pipeline proposals?
Well, I think we need to have the same kind of tariff-free relationship on the bulk of our goods that we had prior to March the 4th. I mean, when you look at the Canada-U.S. Free Trade Agreement, there are some areas that are tariff, but it's about a 96% tariff-free relationship. And I think that there's a few things, obviously, that the American administration wants to address in future negotiations. But that's the forum to address them, not by unilaterally tearing up agreements that we thought we'd negotiated in good faith. So I gather there's been some movement today. Before I was just monitoring Twitter, which you seem to have to do every 2 hours to figure out what is happening on this issue. But it seems like the 3 major American auto manufacturers have convinced the U.S. president that they would shut down in 8 days if they didn't get some reprieve from the auto tariffs. And so it sounds to me like that has also been moved a month. So those are the kind of things that demonstrate to me that there is the ability for our allies and friends in the United States, among the elected representatives, consumer groups, as well as industry groups, to make the case about this strong relationship. We had some success already in making that case on energy resources. It's why there's a lower tariff on energy. It sounds like there's been some success on the auto sector in getting to that point as well. And I think it's up to all of us. We have to, the next big issue, of course, is going to be on food products, manufactured goods, intermediate goods. But that's what I would like to see. I think we are all working for a virtually tariff-free relationship, and I hope we can get there sooner rather than later. Okay. I guess you'd have to believe that there's no organized crime or cartels operating in America if that was the case. I mean, it seems to me that when we look at where the opioid crisis began, it began because of a pharmaceutical company being irresponsible in marketing it. And I'm talking about Purdue Pharma, which has had a multitude of lawsuits filed against it. So I would say that a lot of this problem started in the United States, and it's morphed into being an international problem. But the Americans have to take responsibility for the fact that they are also a net exporter of cocaine, crystal meth, and they are responsible for this as well. Like I can't stop all the deaths from happening in the United States. They've got to do some of the work on that too. We can certainly decrease them. As we've demonstrated in Alberta, our approach with our recovery-oriented system of care, getting people on Suboxone and Sublocade, putting people into treatment when they're in corrections facilities, having recovery communities that we're continuing to grow, and all of those various ways of being able to support people in recovery has reduced our opioid deaths by 40%. And so that's after 6 hard years of work. So I think if the answer is going to be no one ever dies from any type of drug, if that's going to be the bar, then I think we're going to have we have to have a bit of a reality check. We all have to be doing our part, but I think the Americans also have to accept that some of this is their responsibility too.
Oh, their camera froze.
And